Cecilia.
I'm Laura. This is the Yarn Mews podcast. Yay! I think we do that every time. We go, and this is the Yarn Mews podcast. Yay!
It's because we're that sort of group.
Hi everyone.
Hi,
I'm Laura,
I'm Cecilia.
and this is the Yarn Mews podcast.
It is.
Once again, it's a bright sunny day here, so I'm hoping there's enough light coming through the windows so that you can see us fine. Looks good to me on the camera, or on my phone, but I don't know what it's going to look like to you.
It might be completely black, and then
You'll just have to listen to our lovely voices.
That's right.
No, we don't have coronavirus.
No, we're all good here.
We are good. So, yeah, I haven't been knitting on anything fun and exciting. I just started this project this morning because, I'm working on Shop Hop stuff. I can't show you that. I'm sorry. You have to wait till next month.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it is. Actually, I'm working on the crochet project for Shop Hop, and my husband said, let's watch Mrs. Maisel tonight or A Crown. And I said, I can't watch those because I'm crocheting and I can't watch the TV while I'm crocheting. There was a hockey game on. He didn't really want to watch the hockey game. I was like, when did I turn into the super fan and you turned into somebody who could take it or leave it? I remember I used to, before I became a fan, I used to hear him in the other room watching the games while I was sitting in the living room, and he would be yelling, yeah! And I'd be like, oh my God. And now I'm the one who's in there going, yeah!
It's fun.
But anyway, we ended up watching the hockey game because I could listen to that and then look up when something interesting happened.
Yeah.
Because I have to pay attention to my hands when I'm crocheting something.
Yeah.
And I know there are some people out there who can do it without looking. I just can't because I don't do it often enough. So.
Yeah. Me too. I don't do it often enough either. So.
Yes, I know.
Be like, never. That's when I
Yeah,
heard.
right.
Although I did buy that Happy Cotton,
Yeah.
one of those books to make little critters, so I'm gonna
Fun.
try my hand at it.
Very
we'll
fun.
see.
Yeah. Well, I'm making a little, we have this new yarn that's not here yet. I've just gotten a little bit to make the sample before it shows up, but it looks like this.
It's purdy.
Look at how bright and shiny that is. I don't know if you can see, but there's some little shiny bits and then more matte bits in there. So I'm making this little one skein shawl. I don't know how big it'll end up being. Because of course it called for a fingering weight, and this is more of a sport DK. I don't remember exactly, and I don't have the label out, but so.
It's a shawl.
Yeah,
It'll
it's a
just
shawl.
be bigger.
Yeah.
My hair is crazy today.
I was thinking
really
that.
good
I was going to
yesterday.
say something about it, but
It looked really great yesterday when I saw just people at Target. So if you saw me yesterday at Target, you'd probably like, damn girl, you look fine. And now, not so much.
Yeah.
An exciting trip to Target,
Yeah.
where they had no Advil because.
Yeah, I went to Target yesterday too. Now, I read way too much stuff online, and it gets me. I'm not panicked about the coronavirus. I'm just, as a small business owner, I'm a little worried, that people are going to stop coming into the store, or, the markets weren't doing well last week, and so people might stop buying. And so I start to think about these things in the middle of the night, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start thinking, well, maybe I should get some supplies just in case Tom or I get sick and we can't leave the house or whatever. So I made a whole list,
Yeah.
I wanted to have, we don't keep a lot of food in the house. We just go to the grocery store 2 or 3 times a week and pick up whatever we need. And so I thought, well, I should probably stock up on, soup, some frozen veggies, meats that I can freeze, things like that, so that if we got sick, we wouldn't have to go to the grocery store. and I should go to Target and refill a couple of prescriptions and get some toilet paper and stuff like that. And so I was there yesterday. And first of all, Target was really busy yesterday. Probably all the other people doing the same thing as me, right?
Probably.
But Cecilia's Target didn't have Advil,
Didn't have anything.
Motrin, or anything. Yeah.
No, it had Motrin and stuff, the PM stuff.
Oh yeah.
There was no Tylenol. There was no fake Tylenol. There was nothing.
Right.
I couldn't even buy like the generic Advil.
Right.
Nothing.
And
It's like, really? I mean, if you're sick, you're gonna probably want that PM stuff anyway, so you'll sleep.
Right.
I don't know why you wouldn't buy that.
Well, I wonder if there was NyQuil and stuff like that. Did you check that?
There was. I mean,
I know you didn't want it. I'm just wondering if people are buying stuff.
I just used my last Advil because I had a headache, and I sometimes wake up with headaches.
Right.
Because I don't.
I also know that
well.
the flu is pretty bad here right now. I've known a lot of people who have had the flu, and it's 3 to 7 days of temperature. So if they're trying to keep their temperature down, fever, I should say. Everybody has a temperature. They're trying to keep their fever down. Then Advil and Tylenol and stuff like that are good. But I, of course, I don't use hand sanitizer. I just don't use it.
No.
But I've been reading, keep some hand sanitizer by, certain places, your door or whatever, so you can use it when you walk in the house or whatever. So I thought, I'll buy some hand sanitizer. Nope. Completely sold out. Now, there were a lot of Clorox wipes around, and I didn't buy any of those because, I just don't use them. But we are using them here in the store at the beginning of the day to just wipe everything down.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I just wash my hands a lot, so I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah.
But I would like to be able to buy Advil so that when I have a headache, I can take Advil.
Yes. Absolutely.
I'm not being paid by Advil. But if Advil, whoever makes Advil, I can't remember now, if you see this and you'd like to send me Advil, I would gladly sponsor you because I love Advil.
Advil's my go-to medication as well.
So look at us.
I texted my
sponsorship. Be like race car drivers.
Yeah, right. We wear little patches that say Advil. Okay, don't send a baseball cap that says Advil because I will not wear that. I'm sorry.
I would. I'd wear it running.
Well, there you go.
Because it's summertime soon.
I texted my son today, and he lives in Denver, and actually I texted him last night, and he didn't respond until today, and he said, "Oh, sorry, I've been really sick," and so I haven't even been looking at my phone, which is strange for a 22-year-old. And I said, "Oh, what do you have?" And he said, "I don't know, coronavirus." I was like, "Really?" I said, "Okay, is it all in your lungs?" "No, I'm really congested." I'm like, "You're fine."
Yeah.
First of all,
no.
That's not coronavirus. And secondly, I've heard of no cases in Colorado, so I think you're good.
Crazy kid.
Yeah. He's just pushing my buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oofda.
Yeah.
That's what I say. No, and I read a thing where it said that you're supposed to have like stuff with water and like beans and cans of beans and stuff like that so that you can, in case there's no water. I'm like, well, what do they think is going to happen?
Why would there be no water?
I don't know. I am like, are we thinking that so many people are going to just keel over that it'll be
utter
like
chaos? It's like it's the Y2K thing all over again, but with illness.
But I think a lot of that stuff is automated now.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's not like 1918 where there were people pushing buttons to make stuff flow. I don't know.
Right, but it's all very interesting. It's what did I read the other day? Oh, I don't know. I've read so much stuff. I thought that the thing that was most helpful for me was to see there was a graph. It wasn't a graph. It was a series of images of how infectious different types of illnesses are. Mm-hmm. And the lowest infection rate was like Ebola. Mm-hmm. And then it went up, and then SARS, and then influenza. And after influenza was coronavirus. But the worst one was measles.
Yes.
If you have measles, you're going to get 9 other people sick, unless they've had the vaccine. So
Yeah.
that helped a lot, just in terms of going, okay, if you're sick, you might infect 2 or 3 other people, maybe, so that helped.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can get off the coronavirus now, because, I'm sure you guys have all been reading about it too.
Yeah.
I will say, the last thing I will say is that I did read yesterday that they think that in Seattle, where there's an outbreak of it, they think that it might have been spreading for the last 10 weeks, and they didn't know.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of relatives who live in Seattle. But,
I'm sure they're fine.
well, I'm sure they're fine right now, of course. I haven't heard anything from any of them. So, but there's a lot of travel to and from Japan in particular, in and out of Seattle. So I think,
Yep. Yeah, it's a major hub for Asia, so in general.
Yep. So, are you still working on your owl?
I am. I'm doing eyes. And I don't know that I love these eyes. They sent this yellow yarn that was working on the same size, and you outline it with the natural, but it seems like the yellow is not quite thick enough for these size needles.
Do you have the picture of the owl?
No, it's at home, because it was in my bag, but now it's not in there, so.
Oh well,
I mean, I
can't look at the picture.
I could go over there and get it from,
Yeah, whatever.
but gosh, that's a long way away. But now here, so you can kind of show. See how the yellow doesn't seem quite thick enough. So I might figure out how to crochet them.
What?
I
you
know.
crochet?
Well, I did take a class.
Yeah, I know. But I've heard from you.
It's not a skill I am really good at. I fully admit that. I am
You
not.
just have to keep practicing.
It's.
Oh, I gotta count how many ridges I have.
Ear, so that was. I crocheted a whole ear.
Woohoo!
Yeah, so that's a thing I did.
Okay, I gotta count for a minute.
All right.
You talk about something.
All right. Well, on a slightly different subject, but sort of on the same subject, I'm currently reading the book The Girl with All the Gifts.
Oh, I want to read that, yeah.
You don't want to read that.
Yes, I do.
Okay, no you don't, because it is a horror book.
Oh.
It's
never mind. I must be thinking of something
zombie
else.
apocalypse.
Oh, no, I don't want to read that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it got a lot of good reviews. It's very good. It's really well written. And it's it's causing the zombie thing, for lack of a better word, because they don't call them zombies. And technically they're not zombies if you go with the traditional, hoodoo zombie, which is someone who's just being controlled by someone else. Yeah.
Thank you.
But there's this fungus that exists. It's real fungus, and it lands on ants and it takes over their brains and causes them to climb up high into the trees, like in the Amazon or something, and then the ants explode, and that's how it spreads the fungus spores.
Okay.
So this is a real
No, wait a
thing.
minute. Wait a minute. Have you watched the show Fortitude? And I told you about this.
No.
Okay. So, spoiler alert. If you're watching Fortitude, this is what happens. Turn this off for, I don't know,
Fast forward.
30 seconds. Somehow, these larvae from prehistoric times of these wasps gets released as the ice is melting in this Antarctic type community. I know it's not an Antarctic community, but someplace super cold where there's permafrost.
Yeah.
And with global warming, melting happens, this mammoth gets exposed, people start looking at it, and then all of a sudden these people are getting this crazy illness where they go crazy and they kill somebody else. And apparently what it is that the larvae get into them and start hatching in their stomachs and then create a chemical imbalance where in order to spread, they have to get into another host. And so these people cut open, when they go crazy, they cut open somebody's stomach, and like this one woman threw up into this other person's stomach, right? And then they put her in a hospital. She didn't die. She gets put in the hospital, this other person. And then all of a sudden these wasps are breaking out of her skin. Oh, it was just gross.
That sounds horrifying.
It was horrifying. I had problems sleeping after that. So anyway, kind of similar.
Yeah, kind of similar. So anyway, it's a different type of little thing. So it's based on a real thing, and then they're like, well, it's the premise that it's jump species now. Mm-hmm. And so what does this mean for people? And they, it's been going on for 20 years, and there are now these children, which is how it starts off. You see these kids, and they are
with all the gifts.
Well, this one girl, she has all the gifts. It's based off of Pandora, which means the girl with all the gifts. That's what her name means. And
I didn't know that. That makes sense. Okay.
And so they are these hungries, that's what they call them, but they can talk and they can learn and they can, so they're like people. So they're trying to figure out what's going on here. And of course,
I don't want to read that.
You don't want to read that? No, I know perfectly well you don't want to read that.
Yeah, but, zombies? No.
But it's really good.
Interested.
It's really well written, so.
I am reading, I'm still beta reading my sister's novel. And then I am listening to, I finished I'll Give You the Sun, which I really highly recommend. It was really good. About two twins and art and family death and I don't know. I don't want to.
All the things.
Yeah, it was just really good. And then I'm reading now Such a Fun Age, which is interesting. Actually, I'm listening to it. I think it might be more interesting listening to it because of the narration. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where it's going. It's about this. The first chapter is all about this young woman. She's like 25, and she is African American, and she's a babysitter for a young Caucasian toddler. And one night, the toddler's mom calls her at like 11 p.m. on a Saturday night and says, something happened. Can you come and take Briar for a little bit? And she'd been out drinking with her friends, this young woman, and she said, okay, but I'm just warning you, I'm not really dressed appropriately, and I've had a couple of drinks. And she said, that's okay, come on. And it'd be really helpful. So she goes and gets her, and she takes her to a nearby grocery store, and the security guard decides that she should not have this child.
Oh.
So you'd think the book's going to be all about that, but it's not.
Huh.
So, there's a really interesting premise that could be very interesting, but nothing happens with it, at least not
right now.
I'm like halfway through the book and nothing else has happened with it. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
I don't like that eye. That eye is too... No. I don't like it.
Okay, well, don't like it then. Do something else.
See, look at that. That's too loose there.
Loosey-goosey.
Yeah, it's coming out. So you can see me taking things apart.
Woo-hoo.
See, that's the nice thing about knitting, is that you can decide if you don't like something, you can do something different. I always try to do what the pattern says, and then, although sometimes I know I don't. Like, I dislike the slip and then knit two and pass the slip stitch over. I dislike that decrease. If I can avoid it, I do. Or the slip a stitch and then pass the stitch over instead of doing slip slip knit. I prefer slip slip knit. So
Wait a minute. Did I do this right? Yes.
that's
So,
what I prefer.
you know what is interesting about that yellow is it looks almost like this yellow here.
Yes, it does, and that would probably be better
Oh,
weight wise. Yeah.
yeah.
See, it's way too thin.
Yes. We might have a little bit of this left in the back that you could use.
Maybe that's
Maybe
what
we
I'll
should
do.
talk about this sweater.
We
So
should.
this is a new store sample that Marianne made for us. It's called Audrey.
So we should.
And you can either put a button or this is a spirally shawl pin, or you can have it like this.
That would hang open
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
There's also this, the pattern actually, this you can do the sleeves longer and have a little thumb hole if you want your sleeves to go over your hand, which is not really my thing, but
I only have that in my running things
yeah.
because protect your hands, and then
Yeah.
you could do that. Which
Yeah,
I think
that's
is really
cute.
Cute too.
Mhm.
You know.
I like the facing on this because it's got a little self-facing, so it looks
It looks
finished.
completed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is really
Yeah,
nice.
and it's made out of the ever beautiful Peace Fleece, which I adore. So I put some colors together here in case you wanted me, because I would totally do that with that purple, or vice
yeah.
versa. Because purple, I like these greens together. I like greens.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And this Peace Fleece is delightful. Shane has a sweater I covet. Sometimes she lets me wear it.
Do you remember the story of it?
They started that they were working with Soviet wool manufacturers in the
Right.
beginning, and that was hence the Peace Fleece. And warm
Trying to
wool from
kinda
a Cold
do-
War,
Yeah,
and kind of farmer to farmer type of thing, where you're working with people who,
across global.
yeah,
This is back in the 80s, I think. Yeah.
it was back in the 80s. So
So it was kind of to go past the Cold War.
yeah, but now it's made out of Navajo Rambouillet. So they're working with
That's a breed of sheep.
yes, and they're working with the Navajo.
And it's got some mohair in
Farmers,
it.
yeah,
That's from
20.
Texas, I believe.
20% mohair, yes. So
But I think they also work with small farmers in Texas as well.
yeah, they're. Look, it says right here, we began our company in 1986 in response to the Cold War, believing that historic enemies could coexist through trade, which it can. And so it's made in the U.S., and it's lovely. And it's got lots of lanolin in it, so when you're knitting with it, your hands will get softer and softer.
Very nice.
Yes, so.
I don't know if you've noticed with other wools, if you work with other wools a lot that don't have the lanolin in it, your hands actually dry out a little bit more. I get more hangnails and stuff like that. And, so it's nice to have the lanolin in there.
It is. It is. It's beautiful. I love that. And someday I'm going to steal that sweater right from Shane.
Yeah, Shane has a very pretty Peace Fleece sweater. I think it's made in this color
Yeah.
or something similar.
similar
I don't know. But yeah,
But it's really nice. And it fits me perfectly.
she was wearing a sweater that I really liked the other day, and I said, you have to give me that sweater. And she said, you have to lose 8 more inches in your bust. And I thought to myself, challenge accepted. Except that she's like Cecilia's height, which is about 8 inches shorter than me. So
It'll be very short on you.
yeah, maybe 7 inches or 6 inches. I don't know what
But
she
it
is.
is that boxy, crappy
It
thing,
is.
so you'd probably be able to get away with it.
If I could just find my own similar colors, I'd make my own.
Well, there you go.
But she used stuff from her stash, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, I also finished the what's it called? Hold on, let me think. Hipster Shawl by Hohi Locatelli. And I think it turned out pretty cute.
It is cute.
I have to say, so we've got our jingle bell on it to keep people from shoplifting. I have to say, these little fringes were a pain in the tush to do. Because she has you cut 16-inch long pieces and then fold it twice and half twice and then pull it through, and then you got to pull the ends through the loop. And it's just really hard when they're this short. So if I was going to do it again, which I'm probably not because I hardly ever make things more than once, I'd probably make the fringe a little longer. It's cute this way, but I'd probably make the fringe longer because
it'd be easier to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me a good couple hours to do that fringe, which just seems way too long for fringe. Yeah.
Fringe.
Fringe minge.
I once did a poncho for the girl, which, okay, number one, poncho. I'm not a poncho person.
I like ponchos.
And it was...
Except for the 70s ponchos with all that fringe.
It had fringe. She insisted on the fringe, and it was made with ladder yarn and rayon.
Oh.
These are the colors. It was the most terrible thing to knit.
Sounds awful.
But she was very excited to wear it. So she wore it a few times, and then it disappeared. I think she lost it and didn't tell me where it happened to it. So, but I was fine with it because I didn't really want it in the house anyway.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Funny.
But yeah.
Yeah.
The things you do for love.
So now what do you got out?
Oh, I got out this blankety blank sweater. So I put it on hold because, okay, it's this Lena by the lady with 3 names.
Carrie Bostic Hodge?
Yeah. And
How did I know that that's who you were talking about?
because you know all the ladies with 3 names, I guess.
Funny.
Anyway, back. I had started with this yarn doing
Just give up.
doing that Edie.
Right.
And then I realized that it was going to be way too big for me because by the time I started to the time I was, continuing on it, well, then I lost my pattern, which didn't help. That had all my markings on it. I realized it wasn't going to fit me anyway. And so I'm like, I'm ripping it out. Well, the thing is with that, because you start at the top and then at the end you pick up around to put a little, like just a couple garter rows of edging, I was saving my swatch to do that.
Right.
Okay. And then I started doing this, and you do the little back part and the front part, right? You do little flaps. So I got this one done. This is the front flap or whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter because they're both the same. And I thought, I should find my little swatch, and then I can have it be pretty much the same.
Oh, I can see where this is going.
I have no freaking clue where it is. I looked through all my bags. I'm like, well, it wasn't in this bag. I couldn't find any bag anywhere. And then the other day I was in the kitchen, and I saw something in the, over by the refrigerator. I'm like, what is that? And it was this. Somebody.
Some cat or dog?
Oh, no, it would be a cat. It would be a terrible cat, probably a terrible orange cat. If I'm not mistaken, had pulled it out of the bag. I don't know how it got it out in my bag to pull it out. So who knows where that swatch is. So it's just going to not match perfectly. And I don't really care.
Well.
It was just more because it's going to be in the shop at some point, and I wanted to, because there's some people that bothers. It does not bother me. I don't care if stuff matches. So
No, she doesn't care if stuff matches, but if something's asymmetrical,
that makes me crazy because that just looks like you don't know what you're doing.
I'm sewing this vest. I made my muslin last weekend, and this weekend I'm cutting it out, and it's got pockets that hang down below the bottom of the vest. So
it just looks like you do not know how to put on a pocket. That's all that looks like.
Well, it actually looks like a design element, so yeah.
You think it looks that way, but it does not. It's like sometimes you'll see the sweater patterns, and the model standing there, and it just mainly looks like, you know, that one side is like 2 inches longer. It just looks like she doesn't know how to button up her freaking cardigan. Like, no one told her, hey, he got those buttons wrong.
Yeah, you know, I can see what you're saying. Sometimes when I'm wearing my Stephen West Lost and Found, I think, why doesn't this side match that other side? But I just go with it. It's fine. It's the way it's supposed to be, and I like it.
Yeah, I know.
So there.
I mean, you told me.
Oh, you know, I forgot to show you guys the colors of wash it that I had out for the hipster shawl.
You show her quick? Show her quick.
Here, I'll show them now. So that's the color that we used. Unfortunately, I don't have enough of this in stock anymore to make it, but I can get more. And then I got these 3 colors. I think they're pretty. I wonder how it would look with this. This is much more highly variegated. I don't love highly variegated. I'm sure you've heard me say that before. But first of all, how wonderful is this color with this? That's fabulous. Anyway, I just wonder how this would, if you would be able to see this, see the patterning in it with this.
Well, it's big patterning.
Well, no, but there's this little section, and I, you know, maybe you can't see it, but there's a section here, right here, that's kind of arrows.
Is it?
Yeah.
I just thought it was all garden
See?
stitch.
No. See right there?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can't see it with that one, so probably not.
You can see it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think with even more variegated, you would lose that even more. I mean, you could just do garter stitch in that section. But I think these 2 grays would be pretty. We have more washted coming, but it hasn't arrived yet, so that's all we got.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can get back to our regularly scheduled programming. Oh, you know, I should also show this book that we got in. Now, this book has been around for a few years, but we just got it in because we had a couple of customers asking about it. It's called Knitting Comfortably, and it's all about ergonomics and knitting and making sure that you're knitting so that you're not hurting yourself.
Yes.
This is how my husband stands, right there. And I keep telling him, you should, you know, not have your head forward so much.
Yeah?
Don't tell him I said that.
Yeah, I'm going to tell him for sure next time. Next time I see him, are you tilting your head forward or what?
You know, anyway, I think there's lots of good things in here. I haven't had a chance to really look through it yet, but...
well, everyone needs to be reminded of the ergonomics, because we all do it at some degree.
Well, even, you know, sitting here for this, I don't like sitting back, but this chair makes me sit back. So I'm constantly thinking, okay, I should sit up. In my car, my seat is like straight up and down because that's how I prefer it. My husband, on the other hand, wants to be like this, and that makes his head go more like this. So, but, you know, whatever.
Yeah, I like sitting straight up in the car too, probably because I'm very short and I can't see, and like my girl
can't see over the dashboard, she means. Yes, not can't see because she couldn't see.
Blind, but yeah.
And that's why she doesn't like driving. You know, she's blind.
Oh,
and we don't like her driving either.
It's just the Braille method. No, but when like Charles will take Serena somewhere, then I'll get in the car and the seat's like way back and it's like leaning. I'm like, what is she doing in here, sleeping? Because dude, why are you leaning back so far? It's madness.
It is madness. Yeah.
Oh, I will bring this out too since we're here. We got the new pom-pom in. Ta-da, pom-pom.
I love the fact that they've got a model who's in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
You know, just there are all sorts of different people out there, and you know, let's have them all in our publications.
Yeah. And so, but I was looking at it, and there's a lot of really kind of cute stuff in there. But I like this one because I think that's fun and kind of nice transitional thing.
Oh yeah, I thought that one was kind of cute too.
And what they're using is spinny, which is a lace weight Icelandic wool, and Isager's. Do we decide that's how it's spelled?
It's Isager, by the way.
Isager.
Just, I mean,
Sorry.
those of us in the U.S. say
We don't
things the
know
way we
anything.
want to say them. Isager, that's how it's spelled.
Yeah.
I was told it's
Isager.
Isager.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So Isager's silk mohair. So we don't have either one of those things, but we do have this lovely exquisite in lace weight.
That's pretty.
So that would be
Of course.
beautiful.
I'll go get that.
Okay.
Chuck's here, as always, during our
Doing our thing.
podcast.
And then we've got the Rowan Kid Silkays that you could use with those, and I was quite surprised at how nicely those colors actually go together. See that? So you hold one strand of each. Now, if you wanted something a little fancier, we've got this cashmere haze that you could put with that. And that would be very nice in case you have issues with the mohair. Now, that's a light pink with a little darker pink. I don't know. It'd give it a different, more of a heathery look, which I think would be kind of pretty, but it would be up to you. We have some other colors. These are just some I picked. So this exquisite is 80% Falkland wool and 20% mulberry silk. And I should have looked to see how much it was, but it's like 800 plus yards. And so it's 875 yards, so it's tons of yardage on there. And then the Kid Silk Haze, of course, is mohair and silk. And the Cashmere Haze is, let me see, alpaca, cashmere, and silk. So it's lovely.
Nice.
And it'd be really nice with one of these.
That'd be really pretty.
It would be. So come in, just because a pattern calls for a certain yarn, it does not mean you have to use that yarn. You can find something you like that's different and that we have in stock. Which is what I do. And yeah, I also like this pattern. Let's see if I can find a bigger picture of it. The Romy Hill one.
Oh yeah. That one.
Yeah. Let's see if I can see the front of it here. That's the back. This one. I think that's quite pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd be lovely in our abstract.
And Romy is such a great person. We just love her.
She's delightful.
I read recently, she did a post on Instagram or something, and she talked about her former career. Gosh, I wish I could remember what it was now, but it was something that I was really surprised about, what she used to do. I can't remember.
I'm not on Instagram, so can't help you with that.
But Romy's taught for us a couple of times, and we really like her.
She's fabulous.
She's super sweet. She lives in a beautiful part of the country in Nevada. I think it's Nevada, but it's outside of the cities. It's
in the mountains.
in the mountains. It's so pretty. You should follow her on Instagram if you don't, because she has fabulous designs, lots of lace. And then she also posts pictures of her landscape, and it's just pretty.
It is pretty. Follow her on the Twitters. So,
Yeah.
'cause that's what I'm on. 'Cause I'm old school.
Yeah. So, just want to remind everybody that Shop Hop is coming up.
It is coming up.
First weekend in April.
Yep.
There are 13 stores involved this year, and so all of us will have a special hand-dyed yarn in our special colors to go with our special patterns. Some of us have both a knit and a crochet pattern, and some just have a knit pattern. But the idea is that you come to the stores, and when you go to the store, you get a free pattern. If you, both the knit and crochet, we away both the knit and crochet.
Yeah.
If you want both of them, you can take both of them. And then, you can buy the specialty yarn or not, whatever. And then if you go to all the stores and get your passport stamped at all the stores, then you can enter the grand prize drawing, which is we give 4 $250 gift certificates away, and the gift certificates can be used at any of the stores. And then if you can't go to all the locations, then you can just get as many stamps as you can, and then turn it in and get in the drawing for a second prize drawing, or maybe we call that the first prize drawing. I don't know. I can never remember the
second chance, maybe.
Yeah, second chance. Thank you. I think that one's $100. But anyway, it's kind of fun. It's really busy for us, and lots of people coming through, and you know. So anyway,
and all the shops have a little theme, and
yeah. Oh yeah, the last time we talked about what our theme was, and yeah. So that's coming up, and then later in the month of April is the Minnesota Knitters Guild one-day workshop, which is called Yarn Over, and they bring in a lot of national instructors for that, and we'll have a booth at their marketplace.
So we drove there to take classes, stop by and say hey.
Yeah. And then in the summer, we've got Cloud 9, which will happen, it's our knitting retreat. It's going to happen July 10th through 12th at the Hyatt in Bloomington. You can sign up for that on our website.
Yep.
We have Patty Lyons and Ann Weaver coming to teach. They'll both be teaching 4 classes, and then we'll have a keynote address by Patty on Friday night on substituting yarn, and kind of like what Cecilia was just talking about.
Yep.
And then
it's just so much fun, and you get to be, you know, we're limited it this year to 30 people. So it's a nice group, and you come and you will, you know, visit with people, and some people have in the same classes, some you won't, but then we get together.
Yeah, Saturday night we're going to have our knit in where we all get together and just stitch and
chat,
and, you know, yeah. And last year we had a game. We'll probably come up with some game this year to have some prizes, and
yep. Yeah, who knows what we'll do?
Yes,
we're wild and crazy gals.
Yeah, and you can stay at the hotel if you want to. The room rate is really good. I think it's $109 per night, which is amazing over in that part of town.
It's such a nice hotel. I stay there every year, even though I live in Richfield, so I'm like 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Literally, I could walk to it. But I stay in the hotel because it gets to be late, and I don't want to have to deal with the driving, and then, you know, when you drive.
And it's just kind of fun to stay in a hotel sometimes. Yeah.
You know, they got a pool, they got a little exercise room downstairs.
And if you're from out of town and you really want to explore, the Mall of Americas is just a really quick light rail ride away. It's like one stop.
Yep.
So there's always that. And then, you know, if you're in town here and you don't want to spend the money on the hotel, feel free to stay at home. You know, it's just no big deal to us.
No.
So
doesn't matter one way or the other, but it is a very nice hotel, and it's very quiet. I get my best rest there because it's very quiet.
Yeah.
And I live in a house that's not very quiet because...
Yeah, well, and, you know, it's near the airport, so they have a shuttle to and from the airport, so if you're coming from out of town, you can easily, you know, just take the shuttle. You don't even have to pay for an Uber or anything like that. And even though it's close to the airport, I've never heard a plane from my room there. And so that's the Cloud 9 Knitting Retreat. I will put a link in the comments or the info section on our YouTube channel for this podcast. And then also coming up this summer is our Progressive East End project. It's going to be our 3rd year doing this. No, 4th year. Because I designed the first 2 patterns, then Amy, and now...
No, this will be number 4.
Yeah, so number 4. And that will be the last weekend in July through the first weekend in August. And the idea behind that is that you have to go to, I think there are 5 stores. I think there are 5 stores this year. You have to go to each store to buy a mini skein. The project is based on a full-size skein of yarn and then 5 mini skeins. And each of the stores chooses a different full-size skein of yarn, so you can pick which colorway you like. We post it on social media at the first morning that it starts. So you can pick whichever store's mini full-size skein you like, and then you have to go to each store in order to get all the mini skeins and to pick up pieces of the pattern. So by the time you go to all of the stores, you've got a full pattern and all the mini skeins that you need, and a full-size skein if you decide to pick one of the store's choices. So that's coming up too. Lots of things going on.
Yeah, we're busy people.
Yeah. So
that's nice.
And kind of rethinking putting a movie night onto the calendar. I've been really hesitant to do it because of copyright laws and because of the space echoes a bit. But I don't know, maybe I need to just try it.
Try it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we know going on here in the store.
That's it. That's all we know.
And other than that, I think, same old, just knitting away.
Yeah, getting her done.
And crocheting.
Yes.
On my part.
Yes. Seemed to be on my part too, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Cecilia's running, and I'm sewing, and I'm getting back to working out, and I don't know, life as usual. Yeah. I went and had a massage this morning. My massage therapist said, "So what's going on with you?" And I said, "Nothing interesting. It's the same old." So yeah, that's okay.
That's all right.
Sometimes having nothing happening in your life is good.
It is. Oftentimes it is.
Yeah.
Because, that means you're not dealing with any crises.
That's right. Yeah.
But I have my first 10-mile race this month, so.
Yay. You'll do great.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
Yeah. I think I'll be okay.
I was gonna do my walk run thing yesterday, and I didn't because I played floor hockey on Thursday. So, just got back to working out a couple of weeks ago after my surgery, and I went to my group session on Thursday, and the personal trainer said, "Oh, I forgot to tell you we're playing games today." I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's always the last Thursday of the month we play games," and I forgot. He said, "We're going to play floor hockey." I said, "Well, I'll try it, I guess. Why not?" It didn't bother my shoulder at all, but it started to bother my knees partway through. And sure enough, my hamstring on my left leg it's really tight. Really, really tight. So I decided I better not run yesterday.
Yeah.
Give it a little break. I walked a little bit, but no running. So yeah.
When you gonna get back to yoga then this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to yoga this week. Just Yin Yoga, which is just on the floor, no down dogs, no standing up to do anything. So I'm going to try it this week.
Down dog.
I do too. I've never liked it. It's like, why do people like this so much?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable and it makes me dizzy.
Yeah. Well, that's a good reason not to do it. Yeah. I figure, in all my classes that I've been to since, not yoga classes, but my working out that I've been to since I got back to working out again, I modify things. If I can't do something, then I do something else. I have plenty of exercises that my physical therapist has given me to do, so that's fine.
That's all good.
Yeah. I know Cecilia's trying to get to the end of her row. I'm trying to think of anything else to say, but I think we should just
I'll just
end.
finish after.
Yeah. So it's great seeing all of you guys. Well, I'm not really seeing you. I'm seeing the camera.
See it, just like in Ravelry.
It's great seeing me on the camera and Cecilia. We have a great time. I hope you enjoyed seeing us too.
Yes.
And we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
See ya. Bye.